So, heart. Now your heart in your body is about the size of your fist, so if you're a bigger person, you have a bigger heart. You have to know the major vessels going in and out of the heart, and then the vessels on the heart itself, which are your coronaries. This, of course, is a fancy-dancy model showing you all the vessels going in and out. It's a little more complex. We'll just look at the little one for now. So if we look here at the heart model, first of all, you have all these blood vessels across the heart. These are called the coronary arteries and the coronary veins. They're terribly important because they keep your heart muscle alive. When you have a heart attack, it's because one of these is blocked. When you have a bypass, they put a new vessel around that blockage. The two main coronaries are the right and the left. They both branch off this big vessel here that's the largest artery in your body. That's the aorta. So this one over here, you can kind of see coming down, that would be the left coronary. This is what they often call the widowmaker, because if this is blocked, oftentimes you don't have any warning and you're dead, because all the vessels here feed, most of them, the coronary arteries feed off of it. The right coronary artery, you have a little more time. So you have a right atrium. Again, it's like in your heart, in your body, the right atrium, oops. Then you have the left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. So we're going to start with the inferior vena cava and the superior vena cava. These are the largest veins. All the veins below the heart drain into the inferior. All the veins above the heart drain into the superior vena cava. The vena cavas take the blood into the right atrium. The right atrium dumps the blood through this valve called the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. Then the right ventricle pumps the blood out. There's a little valve here called the pulmonary semilunar valve. Valves prevent backflow. So the tricuspid is preventing flow back out of the right ventricle into the right atrium, and the pulmonary semilunar valve is preventing blood from coming back down through the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery here is unique. The pulmonary artery is the only artery in the whole body that carries deoxygenated blood. Where does it go? To the lungs to get oxygen. Once the blood is reoxygenated, it comes back through the pulmonary veins. You can see them around back here on the sides. The pulmonary veins are the only veins in the body to carry oxygenated blood. Veins always go toward the heart, arteries always go away from the heart. But there is an exception. All arteries carry oxygenated blood except the pulmonary artery, and all veins carry deoxygenated blood except the pulmonary veins. The pulmonary veins take the blood into the left atrium, down through the bicuspid valve, into the left ventricle, which has more muscle because it's got to really push blood out further, because it's going to pump out through the aortic valve, which you can't see on this model, but you can see it on this model. So this is your pulmonary semilunar, and this is your aortic valve here. And that aortic valve, then, the blood goes into the aorta, the largest artery, to be taken to the whole body. So, in reality, both atria are filling at the same time. And then when the tricuspid and bicuspid valve open and then close, that's your lub, the lub-dub of the heart. So the lub is when they're closing. That means the blood is in the ventricles. The ventricles contract simultaneously, push the blood out through the pulmonary artery and through the aorta. And when the semilunars, the pulmonary and the aortic valve close, that's the dub, part of the beat of the heart. You also will have to know the three major vessels that come off of the aortic arch. And I really don't like them in this model. You can see them around back a little better. But there's three main branches. So from left to right, okay? This one here is the, so tired, is the left brachiocephalic. This is the left common carotid, and this is the right subclavian artery. All three of these are arteries branching off of the aortic arch. The left brachiocephalic will then go into the left subclavian artery, and it will go into the left this left common carotid. There's your right common carotid coming off of the right subclavian. So you'll have to know those. So this is your pulmonary artery here, and again, the aorta, not as clear, here it is here. The aorta splits too, and it goes down around the back of the heart, down to the rest of the body. So there are 3 layers to the heart you have to know. The main layer, that's the most important layer, is what we call the myocardium. So you have a pericardium, you have a myocardium made up of cardiac muscle, and you have the endocardium that lines the chambers. So you have to know those 3. And again, you can see your coronary vessels. Now all the veins, all the coronary veins, will drain into this structure around back called the coronary sinus. So all the coronary veins drain in that coronary sinus, and then they drain into the right atrium. Also in the right atrium is a little structure right here called the pacemaker. I don't know if it shows up a little better here, maybe. It's yellow right here. That's your pacemaker, your sinoatrial node that starts your heartbeat. And then it sends information to the AV node that you really can't see very well on these. And I'll go through that in lecture. So you have to know the simplified way the heart beats. Okay, make sure went through everything. I can point out your chordae tendineae, these little heart cords. They help keep those valves shut. I usually don't ask that in human bio. And try to simplify it for you guys as much as possible. And then I want to go through some of the major vessels, blood vessels of the body that you need to know. So, here's my blood vessel guy. I'll do that in another recording because I've got to go get the other model. So that's it for the heart.